Kill Complacency, a podcast that inspires growth and intentionality and helps you overcome your greatest obstacles.
My guest today is Chris Meredith. He's got a crazy story. Chris, a lot of people see you as this super successful. What's the backstory? Because we were just talking and you told me a little bit of it.
Yeah.
But what did you have to climb out of to get where you are today?
First of all, thanks for having me. I don't think I ever will be, even if I'm elected, but I guess technically you become that, right? I kind of thought about that on the way over, and I was just thinking, if we're going to fix what's broken in Oklahoma insurance, we have to be intentional about it. And it starts with one thing in all of our lives. We have to be intentional about where we're going and what we're doing. And no one ever becomes successful by accident. And you don't go up the hill by accident. No one chooses to go, hey, I'm going to walk uphill by accident. They choose to go do that, right? And they know it's hard. And that's kind of what happened to me. Coming out of high school, I'm born and raised in Midwest City, Oklahoma. And I was a high school athlete, very good blue chip, all-state football player there. I was expected to do great things. And I think that, as a kid, you're not managing your emotions. You have no intention. You're just kind of enjoying life. My senior year, my last game of the season, somebody took a cheap shot on me. So I retaliated. After I'd pancaked him, I'm laying on top, and I ended up punching him in the face. I got up, I kicked him in the head. Thrown out, missed the playoffs. We lost in the playoffs. We should have won the whole thing because we had a great team. Incredible amount of D1 players on that team. And that kind of set me off on the downward spiral. I ended up going to the University of Oklahoma. Most of the colleges that were recruiting me ended up, disappearing. Come watch me at the playoff game and say, where's he at? When he's sitting on the bench. So that kind of ruined a lot of what I was going, but it was such a blessing. There were so many blessings that happened that we get deterred, we feel bad about, but they weren't meant for us. They were meant to teach us something. If you just change your mindset into that, it really makes a difference in your life. So,
How do you change your mindset on that?
I don't know where I learned it, but I just determined that, even if you lose a game, if you get kicked out, where's the learning moment in this? How do I become better going through this process? I think that ultimately boils down, lifting weights and things like that. You have to fail. If you're going to get stronger, you have to tear your muscles apart. They have to fail to build stronger and get better. And that's just kind of where it comes from.
That's what he says about difficulties.
Absolutely. You go walk uphill? Good.
Yeah.
It's raining? Good. You lost your shoes?
But it's a mindset.
Absolutely. It is a mindset. And that's kind of the beginning of wisdom is looking for the learning moment and how you get better through difficult times. And like I said, I was working at General Motors for a little bit. My grandfather was working there and got me a job. I lost that job. Being around people older than me helped me see what I didn't want. I didn't want to be, just working a 9 to 5, or they were working 9 to 8. I mean, long shifts, being tired, drinking after work, and that was their life every day. I don't want to do that. And then I got fired from that job, which was another blessing because it was cushioning. And I was getting paid. I was 19 years old, living kind of a party life. And then the final straw, I was sitting at one of my younger brother's football games, and they were going to the state championship. And I was sitting in the stands. My dad was behind me talking to somebody. I don't know who it was, but he asked, what is he doing? He's supposed to be down in Oklahoma. What is he doing here? And my dad said, nothing. He's a bum. And, it really hurt. I mean, it felt like lightning. It still kind of stings.
Have you ever talked to your dad about it?
I don't think I've ever talked to him about it. Maybe I've mentioned it, that what his catalyst it was.
He knows. Does he know it was a...
Yeah, he does. It hurt, and I just said, I'm not a bum. In my mind, I'm changing my life. So from that moment on, I enrolled at a junior college to fix my grades. I had 2 semesters of Fs. You talk about starting in a hole. I was way overweight. I hadn't lifted in a couple of years. I hadn't run in a couple of years. I was eating trash. I had all kinds of, alcohol and all kinds of other substance problems. Talk about intention. I was intentional. I said, I am coming back. Once I made the decisions, a lot of us, we just got to make the decision. Just decide you're going to go do it.
Yeah.
Okay? And don't let anything stop you. No one. Because I remember I was halfway through the journey. I'm living alone. I got an apartment by myself. No phone. No TV. All I did was go to school. I worked 40 hours a week. And I worked out 3 hours a day, every day. That's all I did, all by myself. I didn't talk to anyone. And I ran into a friend of mine, close friend.
You were going to school?
Yep.
Working a full-time job?
Yep.
And working out?
Yes.
All you were doing was those things and sleeping?
That's right.
No friends?
Nothing.
So you had probably to cut your friends out of your life?
Yes, absolutely. I felt a little comfortable, and I talked to one of my friends, real close one, and I told him I'm going back. And, but I had already made the decision. It hit me it bounced off, but it also like empowered me. I was like, I'm going to show what I can do. Once you change your mindset, those things can empower you instead of breaking you down. So when people don't believe in you, it's like, okay, don't believe in me. I just got stronger. And that was a big deal for me. And, I ended up, after about a year of that, I fixed my grades. I got back in great shape, best shape I'd ever been in my life. And I went down and hunted down my offensive line coach at OU. And I showed him the proof. Because, you can't just come and talk. You got to show proof.
So you showed up with your grades.
Yes.
And
I wasn't necessarily buff.
yeah,
I had just lost like 50 pounds. I mean,
you lost it by working out.
Yeah. I was a good, strong in shape. You can tell. I mean, I was 265 coming down from 300 plus. I showed him the proof. I asked for a second chance and he let me get back on the team. And he meant
good for him.
Yeah. I'm so thankful he gave me that chance. And I got down there. I did what I needed to do. But, the eligibility requirements were messed up. If I had stayed, I had 1 year left. And I just decided, I wanted more opportunity to develop football wise.
Sure.
And going Division II in 97 gave me that chance to get 3 more years of football. And I ended up going to Northeastern State University where, it was great. We ended up going to the Final Four in the playoffs. I was all conference offensive lineman there and met my wife, which was, another turn of events. That was amazing in my life and just set me off on this path, this journey of life. You don't always know where you're going, but once you have just kind of these core principles, you can start navigating it.
You ever get an attaboy from your dad for going back? He owes you one, huh?
He's not an expressive type guy usually, but he is definitely proud of me. And I'm thankful for him because he has taught me so much. Going back, there's so many things he did for me. I try to remember to tell him every day I think of something new.
Sure.
Just by living the life he lived.
Chris, it sounds like it really boiled down to a mindset shift and maybe kicked off from your dad's comment. How do people have that mindset shift? There's somebody listening right now and they're like, dang, I know I need this. Because we do, right? When we're in the hole, we know this is not the best life for me.
Yeah. It starts off with asking yourself the question, who do I want to be?
Which is what
it really is.
Right?
Yeah, it really is. It's
identity.
I didn't read any books. There was no YouTube. There was no Instagram. There was no mentor telling me this thing. It just so happened that catalyst, it was a couple of things over the period of time that just made me decide I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I don't want to be just the average, I don't want to be Homer Simpson or Al Bundy talking about the glory days. I wanted something more for my life and I wanted to be something more. And once I made that change and I just said, what do I want to be? I wasn't real sure, but I knew I didn't want this. I knew I didn't want the environment I was living in and the way I was living. I didn't want that. And the only thing I knew a couple of things. I knew football was an avenue. I knew college was an avenue.
Yeah.
And I knew I could work hard.
And that's what you knew.
Yeah. Hard work gets you there because that's how we, as an athlete, how to get better. You work hard. You go to the weight room, you go to the track, you go to the field, and you work hard. And so that's all I knew. And so that's where I went to.
So you play football, you meet your wife, you guys get married?
Yes.
What happens after that?
So we got married actually my senior year, which was 99. This was a difficult deal. I mean, she leveled me up in many ways and made me a better person. I mean, this all goes back to cultivating, not only just getting away from bad influences, but bringing in good influences.
You have to replace it.
Yeah, she definitely was that for me. I mean, she just made me better in so many ways. But we had a challenge in the first year. I mean, we got married in May of 99, and I had to go back to Northeastern State to play my last season. And it was a chance to go to the NFL. So it was like, I got to go. I must do this. We have to do this. But she did not want to go. And she had a job in Oklahoma City. So she decided to stay here in Oklahoma City, and I went to Tahlequah for that semester. And we were basically married but separate in two different places. And it was very difficult. It's not like you can drive back and forth that often. School and work, practices and games. But, we made it work for that first few months and, got out. And then I moved back to Oklahoma City, finished my degree at UCO. We've just kind of gone.
What's your degree in?
My degree's in biology, actually. Yeah. Again.
Have you ever used it?
I actually use it on a regular basis.
Okay.
In that, the reason why I was in biology is because, again, this goes back to my dad. He used to get Discover magazine. I don't know if anyone knows what that is. But it was just a magazine on science that came every month.
Yeah, it was entertaining.
To our restaurant, and I would read it. It was just so fascinating to me. And it just developed as curiosity. And that's what got me into biology. So I was so curious. And then I got into, right around 9/11, I got into bioterrorism prep for studying epidemiology and, how to prepare for, attacks and things. And I was just so interested in it. But I wasn't getting paid a dime. And my insurance agent came to my dad's pizza parlor. I'm sitting there with a degree, no job, just flipping pizzas, no money. Wife was, married. And she said there was a building, this big claims office. I'm going to go check it out. And I got a job as an adjuster, ended up really liking it, left the biology behind. But the biology, the curiosity on how things work has propelled me to this moment.
Yeah.
It really has.
Entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So you started working claims adjuster.
So as a claims adjuster, I learned the job pretty quick, but I was hungry. I was hungry. I missed football. I didn't make it in the NFL, so I still had, and so I wanted to apply that same mentality to my job in a cube, basically a cage. But I took that same aggression and put it towards my job. And the HR was trying to keep me out of their office because I'm like, I need to take all these courses you have online. Like, you can't do that until you're 90 days in. I'm like, I want to now. I want now. I need it now. I was just wanting to become the best I could be. I was immediately wanting to be a supervisor. What do I need to do? And those types of things. And again, the biology piece immediately hit me because I was watching us do these claims and I immediately saw the process. And here's all the inefficiencies in our process. And what can I do to make it more efficient, get faster, get better, improve things? That happened like immediately. I saw it immediately. And what ended up happening was half my job was done, but by noon I was done with my work. And I started doing everybody else's work. And then I started making all these forms up and I'd hang them up everywhere. The whole department had things I had created to help them get better.
Yeah.
And that helped me propel my career forward. I would do that throughout every step. Became a supervisor, same thing. We're just getting better. Manager, same thing. I mean, by the end, we were, I was running, all the total losses in America were going through our department. And I was a leader in that department. And I was a manager running hundreds of millions of dollars paid. But I had a customer that asked me, when can I get paid? I need money for buying a new car. I told her my car, I don't have a car. I said, well, we're waiting on you to bring the paperwork back. And she said, well, how am I supposed to do that? You have to get a notary, and I don't have a car to go get a notary. And I just went to my boss and said, why do we have a notary? Again, it goes back to just asking the question, why? Why are we doing it this way?
Eliminate.
And he told me, he said, well, that's the law. I said, well, why can't we change that? If a person wrote it, then the person can unwrite it. So he said, well, good. Why don't you go fix that? So, because you complain at work, you get a job, you get a project. And so that's what happened to me. And so we ended up, that started off a process across the country where I would go in and tell people, legislators, I would be the business guy coming in saying, we're trying to change this law so we can serve our customers better. And there were different things in different places, but it's a mindset shift. And we ended up from customers taking 7 to 10 days to get their payment to same day. Because now you eliminated all this paper, all this mail,
all this regulation,
and it's all electronic now. Because that was the thing that got me. Is like, we're emailing everything. Why can we not email this person's doc? It doesn't make any sense. And so, we went from 7 to 10 days to single day payments. And our total process time was cut. I mean, eventually we got it to half. I mean, it was like 120, 130 days or whatever. And then we got it down to under 60. I mean, it was from end to end. From the day you report it to the day we sold direct car, which was part of the process. And so it's all about, how do I move this system and make it better? Not just the insurance company, but our customers.
Sure.
Because they're in pain too. They're the ones that are reaping this. And if we can get faster, it also makes us bring down the cost, which brings down premiums.
How do we help people have that mindset of making things better, faster, more efficient, and less regulated? Because I feel like so often we get stuck in our box. We hate change. We don't even think about change because we're in a stupid system.
Yeah.
How do we help the listener get in that mindset of adding value to people by being more efficient?
And I'm just sharing from my experience. I think it starts with leadership. Leadership has got to engage the people on the front lines. For me, running for office, I'm asking why.
Sure.
And I'm asking for the people who are doing the work to tell me what's the solution. In Oklahoma, our biggest challenge is roofing. There's no doubt about it. Roofing is driving our insurance rates high.
It's so stupid.
And it's because the whole system is so inefficient. No one's looking at it. No one's overseeing it really. And to my knowledge, no one's ever brought roofers and insurance companies and sit down at a table and say, how do we fix this? And so I've been on a rampage of, the insurance side, I've got great connections and all that. That's, I feel really good about. But it's the roofing side, I've been building relationships with them all across the state. And it's like, what are you seeing? How would you change it? What's your biggest challenge? Giving them a voice so they can bring it to us and then get them at the table so we can sit down together and iron this out because that's where it's going to get fixed.
And roofing's hard. Roofing, I've got a bunch of, but I won't have a single claim because I know if I do, it's just going to drive my rates. All my premiums are high because I'm never going to use it. And when I do have to have a roof replaced, like we're just out of pocket. But again, I also know the guy I have roofing for me, licensed, insured, all that stuff, but he's about 30% cheaper than for normal companies. And so I know, or I should say, insurance claims. So I know that there's companies that frustrate me because they're gouging, in my opinion, insurance companies, and they're driving my prices up on insurance.
Yeah. Absolutely. One of the biggest complaints I hear from our Oklahoma-based legitimate great roofing companies is that they're getting pushed out of jobs by illegitimate companies. I mean, they're companies because Oklahoma has, there's almost no barrier to entry.
Mm-hmm.
I can go start one tomorrow. I know nothing about it other than what I've talked about.
Yeah.
And I can go start one tomorrow. And that just seems credible to me. And, they complain about the same stuff. These other companies are paying deductibles, which is illegal. They're doing shoddy work to save money. They're sending people out, making, our senior citizens and people to sign contracts and lying to them and things like that. So I'm working with them to help clean that side of the business up. As a commissioner, I think that's going to be very important that we help them clean up their side of the business.
Yeah.
It's not my job to clean it up. I'm not the commissioner of roofing. I'm the commissioner of insurance.
Mm.
So my mission is to help them in any way I can to help them clean up their business. And then on the insurance side, we'll bring it together. We'll figure those things out. But there's a ton of work that needs to be done on that side of the business.
The other thing I see in it, when I go to sell a house, the roof might be 7 years old. There's honestly nothing wrong with it. It's not leaking. It may have a few little chips. And if I was in a different state, it would be fine. But insurance companies in Oklahoma, because of the problem, because of the cost, they want a new roof on there. And so I think that also is a factor that drives prices. Is the insurance company is trying to protect themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
By having new roofs put on. But these are 30-year roofs and they're 8 years old. And I'm like,
yeah.
Why? Again, it's because there's people taking advantage of the system and it's costing insurance companies.
You got really, to me, two issues here that are important to me because this is what I'm all about. We're going to reduce costs through what I just talked about. But we need to reduce risk and we need to restore trust. The trust component, I read a great book called The Speed of Trust a long time ago. And it talks about how trust erodes economic efficiency in the market. And that's what we have now. So right now, because of the trust problem, every insurance company does not trust the roofing company. They're being very strict on underwriting. They're being very strict on the claims. And to a point where now you're seeing all these lawsuits and things like that. And, I have no idea what the other side of the story is on that. But I do know I've seen plenty of roof set, the roofer says it's damaged. The insurance company says it's not. You bring in another expert and then they change their mind. So, did the damage change? Don't think so. Something's wrong here. So the trust piece is going to be very important to rebuild because everyone I talk to, no one trusts their insurance. Insurance is a promise. You're buying a promise. That's what you pay for.
That's well said.
And you have to, in the insurance policy itself.
There's a lack of trust there. So
yeah. The policy itself, you have to understand, well, what are they promising? And I think that right there, people don't understand the promise that they're buying. Number one, ACV versus RCV, depreciation, deductibles is all unclear. And part of that's on the consumer, but I think we can do a better job of explaining it. Now, the other side of that is they have to deliver on the promise. The claim is the promise being fulfilled. Mm-hmm. And right now, most Oklahomans feel like the rules change when it comes time to fulfill a promise. So you have a broken promise and it's kind of cloudy, so no one trusts the system. It's going to be my mission to fix that.
It's a big mission.
It is a big mission, but I think like anything, you shine the light, it show everyone.
Plant your flag. And
it's just like right now we're getting all these arguments about are insurance companies making money or not. How would you know? There's no data. There's no website showing you. Other states have data. You can go see. It tells you exactly. Here's how much the combined ratio is. Here's how much money they're losing. Here's the surpluses. We need to get to that.
We don't have that in Oklahoma?
No, all we have right now, you can go and look, and it talks about market share, how much premium was collected, and how much of that is the market share or whatever, which is fine, but that doesn't help me understand. Are they making money on me or making too much? If people start seeing that data, I think it'll make a big difference, among other things. Complaints, all those types of deals, because ultimately, you don't know what you're buying until you have a claim. It could read exactly the same.
House burns down, then you find out.
But that claim, the way they interpret that document is different company by company based on their claims handler. And those claims could be internal people, they could be external people. And there's an incentive issue with different who's handling your claims. And so we have to get in there and get our hands dirty and clean that out.
Let's talk more about leadership. to be a leader, you got to take ownership. So at what point did you think you've stepped up? I mean, there's a mindset shift you had where you started taking ownership of your life.
Yep.
But at what point did you shift to say, I'm going to be a leader that fixes this stuff?
Good question.
Do you feel like when you came back to play football the second time, you positioned yourself more as a leader?
Absolutely. Because I took self-ownership. That's kind of where I was going to go back to, is that's where it began. It's when I decided, I know I don't want this life. So what can I do? Well, I can go and get in the best shape of my life. I can make the best grades possible. And then I can get them to take me back. And that's kind of where it started. And, there's other things you can't do, right? I mean, I played to my strengths, right? I was already a great football player and I was already decent. So I knew I was smart. I had connections at OU, so I went that way. But at some point, you have to decide what's in my control and what's not in my control.
Sure.
And that's kind of where I go. I mean, it's kind of like insurance rates.
Well, that's what I was thinking. You could almost carry this over to that.
Yeah, and I do. And I think about it all the time. You can't just come in and say, I'm going to cut your rates in half. You have no idea what God and Mother Nature are going to throw at us tonight or tomorrow. You have no idea. And ultimately, that's driving everything. So you go, well, what can I do? I can tell you what we can do. We can build stronger homes. Like, I can't change the threat, but we can face it through better building standards. And that's going to be something I heavily advocate for, is stronger buildings, and starting with the roof. I mean, I don't think we need to build bomb shelters, but we can be economically feasible and build stronger roofs.
Well, your roof's your most vulnerable thing in Oklahoma.
Absolutely. And because of the hail and the wind threat, we just have to be smart about it. And then I look around, and this is important, I think, to an important principle. What are everybody else doing? Has anyone else ever conquered this? Because if they have, I can't. Has anyone else ever made a comeback? Has anyone else ever lifted this weight or done these things? And I go, yeah, they have. This is not something new. Florida and Alabama face incredible hurricane threat. What did they do? They built stronger homes, and it worked.
Yeah.
Florida's market is not only stabilized, it's improving. Rates are coming down.
Really?
Absolutely. And there are more companies are going into the market. Alabama's got 70,000 fortified homes. These are homes that are fortified to withstand the weather. They're built smart. Let's get smart here, people. If you're going to build in a hail zone, we might want to have hail-resistant roofing. And what's crazy is it's really not that more expensive than a regular roof.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely more money, but it's...
You're talking about metal roof?
I mean, metal roof is an option.
Yeah.
The one I'm specifically thinking about is the certified fortified. That's a specific product that's been tested for over a decade, and it shows to work. There's other options, of course. And I'm open to other things. It's just I always lean to fortified because it's something that's been tested in states, in real world, by in hurricanes, scientifically studied, and it works. It reduces damage, which is ultimately how you lower rates. You have to reduce the cost. And the other thing it does is if you know that you have these, it reduces risk, because insurance pricing is really the actual losses and the potential for losses. And, if Oklahoma is going to get serious about reducing insurance rates, we have to get serious about risk mitigation and being resilient to the weather, because that's what the insurance companies are going. Oklahoma's going to keep on slapping, these roofs that are disposable and replace them every 5 to 6 years. We're not getting anywhere. And so we have to get super serious about that.
At what point do high deductibles play into that? Does that help? I mean, that's what we do, just because we're looking at cash flow, and it's not a lot. Honestly, it isn't.
And I think it should be an option.
Our issue is we don't want to have a claim because we have one claim that affects all of our doors.
I mean, higher deductibles are a good option. It worries me because there's so many people that we haven't had it tested yet, but there's a lot of people moving to 3%, 5% deductibles. And what's going to happen when it hits Midwest City? And all these people have 5% ACV policies. I mean, that ultimately means you don't have recovered. You're not getting paid anything. So how is it going to be replaced?
Well, people don't understand what 5% is.
That's right. And that's a major, and again, we go back to the transparency of the promise. I'm okay with it needs to be clear, and we need to move to dollars. Because if I tell you, hey, my insurance is too high, what can you do? Oh, we'll raise you from a 2 to a 3%. Okay, that doesn't sound like much. If you actually had dollar amounts, it becomes very clear. This is thousands of dollars. And for some people, it's a lot of money. They don't even realize it, because a lot of people, again, they also think that the percent is based on the estimate of the roof. It's not. It's an estimate of the value of your rebuild of your home, which is coverage A on your insurance. And a lot of people don't know it. And again, that's where I want to get more clear on the promise side.
We've taken to using ChatGPT sometimes to compare policy to policy, mostly because we get a 50-page doc. I don't know what it means, but I get one from this company, this company, and this company, and I just want the highlights. And also, to your point earlier, we don't know what we have until we need it. That's something we've gone to use. I'm sure it's not foolproof, but at least this gives us a little bit of peace of mind at our bullet points on what we are getting. But maybe talk about that. How could AI help this transparency issue?
I think that's an education piece for us that we can get into of helping people realize that. I know one of my favorites is contents. Like, I don't know if people know this, but if you have, let's say your house burns down, you have to provide a list of contents that were lost, and then your insurance company reimburses you. I couldn't tell you what's in the third drawer down on my kitchen. I have no idea. So, but using AI, I've tested this. I can take a picture with ChatGPT and say, make a list and the replacement value and the shipping cost of every item in this picture. And it will list it out in an Excel sheet, ready to submit. And I mean, I think there's something there that we can work with. But ultimately, I think that's one way to go with it eventually. But my intention is to reduce premiums. How do you do that? You go after the core thing, which is the roof, is to focus on the roofing part of the promise. The things involved with roofing that are major sticking points, I don't think there's really that many. If we get clear on the deductible, if we get clear on ACV and RCV and those types of things, I think that will help immensely. If everyone knows and we get, a little bit better on that focused area, communicating to the customer.
Chris, how do we do that? And not to throw anyone under the bus, but how do you get rid of the car salesmen, roof guys who aren't clear to the customer? Because that's the other issue, right? Like an insurance company could have a policy on how we're going to be clear, but if it doesn't get conveyed by the roofing contractor.
There's lots of options, right? Like Florida has a deal. You can submit the contracts to the Department of Insurance and they will have someone review it.
Okay.
There's an option. I've thought about an option of going out. We need to do auditing. Let's just send a team out that knows roofing to the field. We'll make sure the insurance companies are doing their job. And we'll also make sure the roofing contractors are doing their job. Because to me, if you're defrauding the customer, if you're paying deductibles, for example, that's illegal. Well, how do we even know that's happening? We don't know.
You don't.
No one's looking. I don't have a problem sending a team out. Again, this is me. I'm coming out with a big flashlight. Here's what's going on. But right now, we don't even know what's going on. So I want to do continuous auditing of the process. Let's go out. I'm not coming out to find people or anything like that. We're just going to take data. We're looking. And then we're going to report back. This is what we found. Because you can't fix anything unless you know what's going on.
Sure.
You can guess all day long. Our politicians do that all the time. They said, here's a great idea. I was like, there's no data or anything. And a lot of times they ignore the data. We present the data. Here's the data. This is obvious what's causing the problem. Now, I don't want to mess with that. That's not popular or, I can't make a headline with that. Well, that's not the way to fix a problem. And that's why I'm running. Politicians are not getting it done.
What's it take to run?
That's a good question. A lot of support. It starts there. I mean, that's the first thing I did. I asked my colleagues, family, is this a crazy idea? Or...
Did you want to do it without your wife, would you?
No. If she said no, I would not have done it. Not at all. What really opened the gate is when she came and voluntarily told me,
okay,
hey, I know you really want to do this. You should go do it. I was like, okay. And I was out the gate. That helped a lot. And I think, to me, having a clear purpose. I never thought I would run for office. I thought I could do, a lot of good in the job I was in. I am currently in. And we do good things, but, it's just, there's more that can be done. And to me, I always thought, if I ever did run, I would need like a clear reason, not just to run, not just to say I did something like that. I wanted to have a clear reason, a purpose, a mission. And, I just so happened to find the mission, and the mission appeared, and it was just like, I see the answer. And a lot of it's because of my unique background. I mean, I'm the only one in the race that's actually run a claims operation.
Okay.
Everyone else is a broker or an agent, or they sold insurance, which, is great. Our agents are local. We need more local agents, by the way, but that's great. And, we've got an ex-politician, but I'm the only one that's run the system. I'm the only one that's been involved in creating that promise and then fulfilling it. I'm also the only one that's worked cat claims. So we worked Hurricane Harvey, helped customers with Ike, trying to figure out how we're going to pick up all these flooded vehicles and move them to the salvage yard in Ike. I was on the ground in Moore the day after. I helped rebuild homes in Joplin. In Joplin, we had all these customers that were defrauded out of their money and couldn't rebuild their homes. All they had was a slab and no money. I really don't know how people will sign contracts, pay them, and then they disappear.
Okay, so it's
for example, it's horrible. And then some of them didn't even have insurance. So, we worked with the city, and there was this whole effort by a wide variety of industries and companies, but we went up there and spent weeks manually building homes together. I mean, there was tons of employees, but I was up there doing that. And like I said, in Moore the next day, what I saw at Moore was really what insurance is all about. It really is. I mean, we were standing there, people were walking out with nothing but a blanket, with nothing. Kids, soaking wet. I mean, it was the awfulest thing you ever seen. They looked like zombies walking out of a war zone. They didn't know what to do. But, within 6-7 days, we had paid 95% of the claim.
Wow.
And we were about ready to leave when other companies were showing up. I just remember things like, this is what insurance, this is how it's supposed to work. We're supposed, the worst day of your life, we show up and help get you back on your feet. I was like, this is what
Yeah.
I want to be a part
That's
of.
what
Yeah.
the trust that needs to be restored.
That's exactly right. And right now, this is not how it's working. It's totally opposite. I mean, when I first came on, trainers told me, they said, here's the policy. I want you to pay every single dime that you can find in it. Not a penny over.
Yeah.
But you find a way to help people with this policy.
That's not anymore though, is it?
Know what they're telling them, but it feels like today, and most Oklahomans will tell you, it feels like today it's, here's my insurance policy. We're going to find a way to get out of paying you.
That's all my friends.
That's how everyone, that's what everyone tells me.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable. I mean, to the core, it's like somebody telling me football sucks. I mean, it's like, wait a minute, what are you talking? And, and that's the way it looks. And I want to fix that. I mean, and that's the trust piece. I mean, I want trust restored in the insurance system. It's always been, questionable because there's lots of misinformation and things out there, but nothing like now. I mean, it's unacceptable to me. I mean, and I always tell my kids, one of the reasons I'm running, I was like, if you see something wrong, you think you can fix it, you stand up and fix it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons
How
I'm
old are your
running.
kids?
I got 2 14s.
Got twins?
Yeah. Boy, girl. I got an 18-year-old. He's a senior. And then a 23 she's about done at UCO. Their age is just about right where they're kind of independent and they're good kids. So it helps.
They're probably doing their own then, right?
Little
Sports
bit.
and stuff.
Yeah. They're all got their things they got going on. But, it's also, again, where's the, it could be bad, right? You can say, oh, I got to get home and make all these meals. I got to do the laundry. I got to do all this stuff. I got to cut the grass.
Mindset.
Or you can go, I'm going to delegate and I'm going to develop my kids to do these things. And that's what's happening. I mean, my kids are learning to cook. The boys are taking care of the grass. They're not great at it, but they're getting better. I'm coaching them, but letting them experience it. I mean, they're not going to be perfect.
Did you read the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey?
Oh, yeah.
There's a really good part in there. You made me think of it when him and his wife tell their kids, we can't do everything. So we need your guys' help. And he teaches this one kid how to mow his yard. And he has 2 rules, clean and green. And he talks about how the kid failed, but then you got to come back to it and help them out. But yeah, I think we miss that as parents too, not raising good.
You just have to be okay with it. I mean, like my one son, he just takes pride in doing the edging. My 14-year-old, he just wants to do the edging all the time. I'm like, because it is bad. I mean, it's just everywhere. I'm like, okay, you got to learn,
I hate edging.
And I'm like, but he's getting better.
Yeah.
I mean, last year was rough. I went out and saw this last time. I was like, this first time of this year, it was like way better. It just takes time. And you got to be okay with the imperfection.
Because if you go out there and fix it, he doesn't have any ownership.
Do I want the perfect lawn that I did, or do I want a messed up lawn that my son did and kept getting better, and then did it in his own place? That's what I want. Again, that's all about what do you want? What's more important to me?
What are you doing right now that your future self someday is going to thank you?
Leaning into discomfort, trying to be uncomfortable. I mean, that is...
Don't change without it, do you?
No, you don't. And comfort is the enemy of success. That's always on my mind. I got into, and this is something, I mean, being intentional, this stuff comes and goes. You've got to continuously.
That's what I
It never stops.
It's not a one and done on killing complacency.
No, it never stops. And so
pops up again and again.
2024, my biggest problem is always balance.
Sure.
I mean, I got all these things I want to do.
Any such thing?
Yeah.
Because I feel like maybe not balance, but we need to have priorities.
Yes, that's probably better said.
Because there's times where we can compartmentalize it. Like, I'm on vacation with my family. I'm not business.
Yeah.
I've got to make some money, so it's business, honey. I'm sorry. So I do think it's priorities, not balance.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good way to look at it. And I just have trouble with, I guess what your priority is a priority. There's not multiple, there's one. That's the definition of it, right?
3 priorities.
In 2024, I hit 50 years old, and I was in the best shape of my life, by far. I mean, there's some pictures out there people can look at, but my lowest weight, I was ripped. I was doing athletic things that I was unbelievable, physically, but I wasn't focused on the other things. Now it's kind of shifted. My priority is this campaign. I've gained 30 or 40 pounds and I'm not hitting the gym as much. I'm actually trying to get, a reasonable amount of time in every day. It's been a refocus of my area of, it's like, how do I get priorities campaign? But, the second needs to be this. I need to get my diet and exercise under control a little bit. And you can do both. It's just a challenge for me.
It's intentionality. Yeah. If you could go back, Chris, and speak to your younger self, what would you tell him? 20 years old, lost, he's in drift.
You're going to make it. You're going to do it. Just keep going through it. Don't stop. That was probably the hardest thing. And it slowed me down a lot. I mean, just self-doubt, self-talk, managing self-talk. I mean, that has been, and it still is, a challenge. I know a lot of people, there's things we tell ourselves that we would never tell another human being.
Yeah.
We're harder on ourselves than anybody else. And I've learned to fight that voice.
How do you fight that?
It was a nightmare I used to talk out loud. I mean, people thought I was kind of crazy, but it's like great example when I was living in that apartment and 40 hours a week, full-time classes, 3 hours a day working out. It was even at 19. There were days I'm laying in bed, the alarm goes off, and I would think I'm tired, and then I would immediately say, "No, you're not," and get up. Yeah, I didn't have that yet, but I was just like, "No, you're not." I mean, I was intentionally fighting the voice, and I still do it to this day. I'll hear my voice will say something negative, and I would just say, "That's a lie. It's a lie." Does that sound like Jocko?
Yeah.
It's a lie. But yeah, I mean, you have to realize that it's happening and then defeat it.
I think it has to do with being honest with yourself, because we can't fight the lies without speaking truth.
That's right. But you have to speak truth back at it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know where it comes from.
If you tell a lie back, it just says, "Yeah, right."
Yeah, I mean, if it says, you're lazy and you are lazy, it doesn't work. But if if it says it's like, "No, you cooked last night for everybody, you got up and went to the gym at 5 a.m, you campaigned all day, you did your job, you're not lazy."
Well, sometimes we can just add "used to be" to the lie. You used to be lazy.
Yeah, you can
Not
do that.
today.
Yeah, today. I like that. That's good.
Yeah. What's a favorite book or quote that has impacted your life?
Man, that's a good one. They kind of come and go. I don't have one that just sticks with me all the
for
time, One that keeps popping in my head lately, Jesus says, "I did not come to bring peace, but a sword." I've used that a lot just in my personal thoughts because really, I mean, that's what I'm coming to do in this campaign. I'm not coming to be an administrator or a manager. I've heard someone say they've been a manager. I'm like, that just immediately makes me sick. I'm like, I'm not managing anything. I'm here to lead. I'm here to disrupt. I'm not going to break anything. We don't need to break anything. We're on a good path. We just got to fix some things that have been ignored because they're not my job. An insurance commissioner is not commissioner over roofing. He's not commissioner over litigation reform or any of these things.
Yeah.
But they all impact insurance. In my mind, there are no barriers. There's no walls. I don't live in a silo. I mean, that was something we did in corporate. It was like, get rid of silos. Quit saying it's his job, their job. Everything is our job. Our job is to help the customer.
Take ownership.
I don't care what it is. And that's kind of how I'm coming with it. I'm coming to fight complacency.
Yeah.
Because that's what it really is. I mean, my last 10 years I've worked in government affairs. And a lot of times we bring these problems fixed and we have ideas. Like, I'm always the idea guy. I know everyone hates me because I'm always like, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? They're like, oh, no. Oh my gosh. But it's like an apathy. They'd rather explain away the problem
Then do something.
Especially in the back room. In the back rooms of these, at the capitals, even in the industry. It's just kind of like, because everyone's just, it takes work. This is not easy stuff. And you got to, if you say, I'm going to go fix distracted driving, well, that's a heavy, it sounds easy, but it's really a heavy load and you got to be devoted to do it. And that's my deal. I want to take action.
All right. My final question for you.
Yeah.
If this is your final message, something happens today, you don't make it home, but we have this recording.
That's deep.
What's the message that Chris Meredith wants the world to know, besides you love your family?
I love my family. I love God, but live a life of significance. Find the thing that you were meant to do and go do it. And don't let anyone stop.
Good. How do people find out more about you?
Yep. Go to chrismeredith4ok.com. You can also Google Chris Meredith anywhere. I'm all over social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram. I'm all over the place. I do videos and stuff all the time. I love social media. It doesn't love me back all the time, but I do my best with it. But those two things, you can find me anywhere on the internet that way.
Thank you for being on.
Thank you for having me.
Just wanted to thank you guys for listening to the end. In closing, I just wanted to add that if this message resonates with you, if it aligns with your values and something in it today triggered something, then you can also look me up on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. We are really trying to help people live more intentional lives to kill the complacency with which they have subscribed to. I know there's many ways in which I get sucked in all the time. So if this is beneficial, follow me there.